What up? It's your boy Chaotic One, and I am back, baby, with another one. Join me as I dive into the latest drama surrounding Lil Durk and see if I can piece together whether he's really in big trouble or not. You ready like I'm ready? Then let's get it. Lil Durk was recently arrested in a whole murder for hire plot situation. And we're going to dive into that a little bit tonight, talk about it, and see, if we can come up with the pieces of what happened and why it happened. So if y'all ready like I'm ready, then let's go ahead and get to it.
With a murder for hire plot, the Chicago native, whose real name is Durk Banks, was arrested in Florida by the U.S. Marshal Service. The 32-year-old's arrest comes as 5 other people in Chicago were arrested in connection with the investigation. According to the complaint, Banks and his co-conspirators allegedly worked together to, quote, track, stalk, and attempt to murder a target at a Los Angeles gas station, firing at least 18 rounds into the person's vehicle, striking and killing a passenger in the car. Banks made his first court appearance this afternoon in Miami. Banks' lawyer asked for privacy after leaving court, telling ABC, quote, "We will not be commenting at this time." I want to bring in ABC News contributor and Sirius XM radio host Mike Muse and ABC News contributor and criminal defense attorney Shauna Lloyd for more on all of this. And Shauna, I want to start with you on this. The charges against these men include conspiracy to commit murder for hire and use of a machine gun in a violent crime resulting in a death. The most serious charge carries up to the death penalty if convicted. I know it's early, but how do you see this playing out?
Alex, this is a very serious charge. Conspiracy is one of those charges that all it takes is voluntary knowledge. So as long as you had any conversation with 2 or more about something, a plan to further this plot for hire, and it resulted in a death, you are looking at those either life imprisonment and up to the death penalty. So it does not take a lot to be convicted of conspiracy charges. Now, they do have to show that he was voluntarily a part of this conspiracy.
Ooh. She said it doesn't take a lot for them to convict of these type of charges.
And they're going to have to show that he knew what the end goal of the conspiracy is. And so that's the burden. But conspiracy does not take as much as other charges. So this is a very serious crime.
Mike, one of the things that strikes me about this is Durk has long touted himself as the voice, especially from Chicago. He's noted his connection to the trenches, but also he's had a kind of a stellar 2024, appearing on some hit TV shows and new music on the way. He just celebrated a birthday, so I'm curious. How is the music and entertainment world processing this news? That had to be a huge shock.
Of course it was a huge shock. What is he talking about? Like, Durk is that dude right now. If y'all don't know, like, he is that guy right now. So for him to be caught up in this, it's surprising to me, but it's not shocking because when Vaughn was alive, him and Vaughn was also caught up in a whole murder situation. So I don't know, man. I'm kind of at a loss for words over this situation right now. But let's continue.
Yeah, it was very much a huge shock, and particularly coming off the Grammys when he had the song "All My Life" with J. Cole, which is pretty much one of his biggest singles that he had to date. That had incredible commercial success. Lil Durk is part of what is called the drill movement in Chicago, and so every region in the United States has a different sound when it comes to hip hop. And so Lil Durk was really at the forefront of the drill music, which is controversial. It is very rooted in gang culture. I don't think any of us involved in the music industry, entertainment industry, realized that Lil Durk would actually have the capability to send out and put out a hit. This was a retaliation to another popular rapper in the drill.
Yeah, like, let's be real. We know that Lil Durk in a realistic situation is capable of putting that money on somebody. Like, we being honest, The only reason why it looks the way that it looks is because of the fact that he's a major celeb. Like, he's not just a celeb, he's a major celeb, you know. And like they said, his All My Life, the biggest hit of his career, and is pretty much one of the biggest hits of 2024, besides Not Like Us. He did have a good commercial success, so it is a little bit more shocking to see it coming from this. But for me, I'm not really surprised because he comes from that background. He's just a dude with a lot of money.
Genre of music, King Von. And so this was to enact revenge against the murder of King Von. What this goes to, though, Alex, is a larger conversation that we need to be having in America is how do we address gang culture, and then how do we address the violence that precipitates within particular urban communities. Every time we have a death or a murder such as this is when we need to be thinking about gun reform, gun legislation, and how much guns are on the streets, in particular within Chicago, which has a complicated dynamic with guns because of the bordering states that they have in terms of how the other states that surround Illinois have very loose gun restriction laws and the way that guns can flow into cities like Chicago. And so I think moments like this gives us an opportunity to address how are we going to tackle the growing issue of violence within our cities, how are we going to tackle gun violence and gun reform, and then how are we going to tackle the gang culture that exists in our major cities.
Well, and Shauna, one more here, because you mentioned conspiracy earlier. How might prosecutors be looking at this OTF group that Durk was a part of? I mean, are we going to see some repeats of what happened in the YS, or what's happening in the YSL case?
Well, this one's going to be a little different because even when we look at the indictment, they already have text messages, which tends to lead me to the information that there may have been an informant because they got this information very quickly. Let's remember these arrests just happened, so they would have had to get these phone records. So if they have a direct source, we're going to see this move a lot more quickly. It cites text messages and phone calls where we can see the exact communications. So they have direct evidence already that's going to move this a lot more quickly than what we see in the YSL trial.
Durk, yeah, you got to inform it. Somebody that's in his crew is running their mouth, you know, and working for them boys. And they probably been working for them for a long time, you know, because sometimes when you're working with the feds, they build a case over a long amount of time. And, you know, they make sure that they got solid evidence. Durk, like I said, was already caught up before with Von, and they had a whole murder situation going on. And for him to be back into it again, I'm not really surprised by, you know, what's happening. Grammy Award-winning rapper Lil Durk has been arrested in Florida on federal charges, so yeah, feds, so it's fed, that he paid for an attempted 2022 revenge killing of rapper Quando Rondo. But for the ones that might not know, Durk had an artist by the name of King Von. And Von was an up-and-coming rapper who was about to blow himself. And they had gotten to an altercation. They had gotten to an altercation at a nightclub in Atlanta. And Quando Rondo's homie, Lil Tim, I believe his name is, shot and killed King Von that night in Atlanta. So from alleged of what they saying that he got arrested for, that this was a retaliation of that whole night in that situation. Durk, 32, is charged with conspiracy to commit murder for hire and the slaying of Savea Robinson, 24, who was gunned down on August 19th, 2022, according to an FBI affidavit released Friday. 5 other members of Durk's Chicago-based rap collective, Only the Family, or OTF, have been arrested, and at least 2 more arrests may be forthcoming. According to court documents that have been filed, Durk was arrested Thursday night in South Florida as he attempted to flee the country, the FBI says. Whoa. So he knew it was coming. And I did just read somewhere where he was trying to go to like Italy or something like that. Durk, whose real name is Durk Banks, won a Grammy earlier in the year for Best Melodic Rap Performance for his song All My Life, which J. Cole appeared on there. And he has also been nominated 3 times and was featured performer on Drake's Laugh Now and Cry Later. I'm not really shocked by it because they come from that. That's the environment that they was into before they had money. You got to remember that these rappers were local and just getting started at some point. So they come straight from the environment of where, you know, you putting money on somebody's head or riding out. I mean, could you imagine how many unalivings are tied to him indirectly? Like he lost his brother. He lost King Von. He's lost numerous others inside of his clique, you know. So they come from that. And if you listen to a lot of his songs, you know they saying in certain lyrics, even though he ain't using it against them, but he's saying certain lyrics like, aha, you know, he said, we got back on it. I bet they know this. What do you think he's talking about? FBI agent Sarah Cochran said in her affidavit that the OTF members engaged in violence, including murder and assault, at the direction of Banks and to maintain their status in OTF. Durk's representatives did not immediately respond to emails Friday seeking comment. According to Cochran's affidavit and other federal court records, the shooting stems from the November 2020 slaying of OTF rapper King Von, as I said, at an Atlanta nightclub after Von and Rondo got into a fight. Records say a friend of Rondo's pulled a gun and shot Von several times, killing him. Von, whose real name Davon Bennett, had hit singles, 2 of them, Crazy Story and Took Her to the O. Authorities say Durk made it known that he would pay a bounty to anyone who killed Rondo, whose real name is Taekwon Bowman. Almost 2 years later, a murder plot quickly came together. Why am I reading like that? Quickly came together, Cochran wrote. On August 18, 2022, Durk's associates learned that Rondo was staying at a Los Angeles hotel that day. And DeAndre Wilson, Keith Jones, David Lindsay, and Asa Houston, and a 5th unnamed suspect flew from Chicago to San Diego, then drove to Los Angeles using funds provided by Durk. Man, this dude, man, if this is true, Durk is in some shit. I don't know if he gonna escape this one like he did that last one. But allegedly, all of this is allegedly right now. So that day, Durk allegedly texted an associate arranging the flights. Don't book no flights under no names involved with me. And he said, Cochran said there is a video evidence that Durk was staying at a house in the San Fernando Valley that day. Dude, man. What was this dude thinking, man? You are too rich for this shit. Like, for real. So once arriving in Los Angeles, the OTF members met Kayan Grant, who had flown there on a private jet. Grant, a top OTF associate, got the men hotel rooms, purchased their 4 ski masks, and obtained 2 luxury sedans, court records say. Grant allegedly gave Jones, Lindsay, and a 3rd unnamed suspect guns, including one that had been converted into a fully automatic machine gun. The next day, the group allegedly followed Rondo and Robinson as they drove a Cadillac Escalade to a Los Angeles marijuana dispensary, a West Hollywood clothing store, and then a gas station across the street from the Beverly Center, which is where, you know, the situation happened. There, Houston parked his car behind the station so Jones, Lindsay, and the unarmed defendant could ambush Rondo. They got out and opened fire, killing Robinson, who was standing outside the Escalade, but missing Rondo. The indictment and news story about the shooting say the suspects then went to an In-N-Out hamburger stand where they discussed payment with Grant and then flew home to Chicago from San Diego. Cochran and other documents say Wilson allegedly later paid Jones and Lindsay an undisclosed amount. Man, this dude, what was Durk thinking about, man? Like, if all of this is true and is real and it's not alleged, what is he thinking, man? Damn. Grant, Jones, Lindsay, Wilson, and Houston were arrested Thursday in Chicago on conspiracy to commit murder for hire charges. No attorney information was immediately available for the men in court records. After their arrest, Cochran wrote, Durk booked 2 flights from South Florida airports, one to Dubai and one to Switzerland. He then booked a private flight to Italy, but was arrested in Miami before he could board that flight. Durk and the other defendants are being held pending their transfer to Los Angeles. Man, what was Durk thinking about? I'm confused on this shit. Like, don't you got too much money to be going through this type of stuff? Like, you come from the trenches, as you say, and you made it a long way to come here. Like, I just feel like when you get to a certain level, man, that you shouldn't even be affiliated or tied to it. But it's something about this gang culture and this gang life and like social media and society today that is glamorized on a whole nother level. You know, it's like they want it to be known that they into whatever they into. And it's just a sad situation to see so many of these rappers, NBA Youngboy, all these guys getting all of this money and never escaping the life that they know. You know, you got all this money. You don't have to live like that, man. You got kids. You got a beautiful wife. Why be in the street still on bullshit? You know, this is 2 years ago, man. What is the whole purpose? But I'm going to share one more video and give a rebuttal, and then I'm going to get up out of here. Let's check it out.
Say the apparent target of this deadly gunfire, a rapper from the Atlanta area. They say a pretty well-known rapper, too, in this area, along with a second person in his black Cadillac Escalade. This is right across the street from the busy Beverly Center on La Cienega. See all that broken glass there? That's where the Escalade is parked. They're getting gas when all of a sudden the windows are blown out by gunfire. They're under attack a few blocks away into West Hollywood. They wind up stopping over at Santa Monica and San Vicente, right in the very heart of West Hollywood. You know, over there by the sheriff's station, also by the West Hollywood Park. They pull over there because the wounds to the man who was hit inside the Escalade too severe. He's bleeding. They pull over. 911 is called. Paramedics rush in. They take the injured man who's hit.
So yeah, man, that was the scene right there from Quando Rondo's shooting in L.A. where his cousin was murdered. Man, this is a sad situation, and boy, if Durk is guilty of this shit, he can kiss it all goodbye, baby, because you in some trouble, bro. I tried to break down the pieces, as I said, to see if he's in hot water. And according to the documents and what we have heard, if any of this alleged stuff is true, Durk, come on, people. We got to do better. If we know better, we got to do better. Once you get to a level of that, and you know you've gained and garnered the finer things of life, and you don't have to worry about that, why stay stuck in it, man? A murder plot. I know Von was your boy, and you wanted to get that get back. I get it, but sometimes, man, we gotta let fate and time and things handle themselves, man. And that's a sad one right there. But we'll see what happens, man. I'll be back with a little bit more information on this whole Lil Durk situation. As a matter of fact, I'll be back with a lot more information on this, man. And if you like this video and you like the channel and the content, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you'll get all our videos. Check us out, like us, do all that good stuff, man. And I'll see you on the next video. Chaotic One, and I'm out. Peace.